What's going on, guys? We're up here early on a Saturday morning. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning, trying to get a head start on the project for today, which is get an ice tank in this car. Last time at the track, we went 1050 at 130. Well, I should say the first time at the track. And after looking at the logs from the two good passes that the car actually made, the IETs were through the roof. It was pulling mad spark. It was probably down over 100 horsepower actually with how much timing it was pulling, and that was due to the IETs just being through the roof. That's kind of an issue with these Roush blowers. Once you start pushing them hard, the stock heat exchanger, it just can't keep up, especially when you're not moving, when you're sitting still. So we're going to put an ice tank in the car today. And hopefully that'll be able to help with the IETs. And the ultimate goal, like I said, is to put this car into the 9s this year. That's what I want before the end of the season. So we're on a little bit of a time crush here in Michigan. We got a couple months left, hopefully. So hopefully we can get to the track a few more times, and hopefully we can bust this car into the 9s, stick shift on air. That's the goal. So anyway, I ordered a ice tank. I didn't do the half moon like everyone else does in these cars. I did a square tank, 7.5 gallon. P&R Welding did the tank, and the guys at DNA High Performance hooked me up with the whole complete set. So I'll put a link to their website below. Super good guys to work with. They got this thing here in like a day and a half basically from when I ordered it on a Saturday, which was really wicked. So yeah, it is a 7.5 gallon tank by P&R Welding. It just has I went with the standard lid. It's the lowest lid they make. It came with everything I needed. It came with the valve to drain it. It came with all the fittings, the mounting tabs, the clamps. It actually came with the grommets, which I had already bought, mounting hardware, the hose, basically everything you need to put this thing in the car. It has a pump in the tank. It's a Rule 2000, so that should be sufficient for running it through the stock heat exchanger. Then I had already bought some other stuff. I bought these which are actually electric mounts, but these are probably what I'm going to end up using actually. I like these better than what came with the kit. Hole saw to go through the floor. I had bought the grommets already. Just some odds and ends fittings. So the only thing I've done so far before turning on the camera is I got rid of the Roush pump. I stripped all the old Roush lines out of here, basically that I'm not going to use. So for now I'm actually going to run from the ice tank into the blower, out of the blower, into the heat exchanger, and then back. Down the road, my goal is to have some quick connects, so when I'm at the track I don't have to use the heat exchanger, because that's actually going to heat the water up, not cool it down when you're at the track. But for daily use, which is what this car sees the most of, driving on the weekends and nice days, is I'm going to want that heat exchanger, because it's actually going to lower the temperature of the water once the ice melts essentially. So for now we're going to run it through the heat exchanger, see how it does. After the burnout I'll flip on the switch, which should be able to keep the IETs low for the pass. I put the switch right here, nice and easy, so I can flip it on after the burnout. And the only other things that I've done so far before we start filming this whole thing is I moved my compressor for my airlift out of the well that used to live down here. Kind of cleaned it, tidied up all that wiring, made the spot, and then I had to drill out all these rivets that held that bracket. If you have one of these cars, you know that's the bracket that holds the spare tire pump basically. So if you get a flat, so that was kind of a pain to drill out those rivets. I just filled them with some clear tape. But anyway, that's the plan for today, is to get this thing completely in the car and see how it does. So I'm pretty excited. Project 9's on air. That's the goal before the end of the year. So thanks for tagging along, guys. I'm gonna need some big boy spacers, and I think I actually have some spacers from a job I did. If I kept them, there they are. I remember keeping a set of spacers
from a job I did, and hopefully, here we go. Yeah, see, I think these will be just absolutely perfect for the backs, and then the fronts I'll probably just use a couple washers. I think these, yeah, those are gonna be money. So I'll probably put a little bit of angle on those, just with the grinder. So I trimmed these real quick to that angle that's in there. I just need to file them, clean that up. I also cut these two tabs out. They lived back here. Since that's not going to be there anyway, just a lot cleaner not having those in there. This is where like the gas funnel stuck in or whatever. So I'm gonna clean these up, drill a couple holes, and at least get the tank mounted right now. I got all the holes drilled to mount the tank, but I figured I might as well put on all of these water fittings before I throw the tank in there, just so I can drill those holes too. I put a little bit of Teflon tape on these. I don't know if I necessarily needed to do that, but I did. Let's see where that has us. I don't have it in here perfectly square, just have it move that way a little bit, just so the water lines are easier. Yeah, so this should work. Drill one big hole here. Actually, that's gonna work out pretty nice. So I'm gonna throw these big guys up there. That should work out. The hardware they gave me obviously isn't gonna be long enough now. Just kind of a drag, but I'm gonna put these spacers under here. Like that. Drill some big holes. Okay. Well, there's some serious holes with a file here. Most annoying noise in the world. Alright, it should go right in here now. Oh, that holes. Yeah, technically they should go right on there. There we go. Pretty happy with that. So I'm gonna test fit the tank and get it bolted in, and then flip the camera back on here. Okay, so we got the ice tank all mounted. It's super secure in here. Can't even move it. So that worked out. Only hose I've run so far is the drain, so that'll be right there, nice and easy. Yeah, so it fits in here pretty nice. We gotta, the wiring's gonna be the biggest pain in the ass of this whole deal, but I think we got it. Manifolds fits back there nice, so that'll be super clean. I am just gonna cut that here because I'd have to cut a hole in the carpet and stuff over here. So I'll just cut the pad I have flush here, so this will be open back here, but whatever. At this point, the car is becoming a lot less of a show car and more of a go car. So anyway, next step, I guess, is we are gonna run the hoses from here up to the front. So we're gonna get going on that, right, T?
Yep.
All right, guys, we got the one out of the ice tank ran. So I did this just a quick connect up here for now because I might try, like I said, I might try to bypass the heat exchanger altogether. So I'm going to leave the stock hoses. I also liked how the angle that this hose ran to keep it away from the blower. So I had this 90 anyway, so I just ran the hose up from the ice tank up to this, 90 into the heat exchanger under the blower, the intercooler. So that hose runs down. All right, guys, I was editing that video and I noticed that I actually had these two hoses run the opposite way of Roush going into the supercharger. So I sent Joe at VMP Performance a note and said, hey, does it matter if which way the water flows through that intercooler? And he said traditionally Roush has the cold water running through the bottom, hot water running through the top. So I just switched these real quick. It took me 30 seconds just to pull off these two hose clamps and switch them. So I don't know if it matters or not, but I figured I would at least post that I did switch those. So now the cold water from the ice tank is actually going to run in the bottom, and the hot water running back out down through the heat exchanger is running through the top. So fender liner's out, so it runs down under there. These bolts were actually here, so just 10 mils on that one, runs down, runs under the car, up, and then the hardest part was getting it up over the half shafts. But all right, guys, just got all the hoses ran. You can see that the return's in there now, feed is there. Got a light now so you can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. Ran these up. I got a bunch of grommets on them. I gotta put one more on here just to tuck this a little bit more out of the way. But you kind of get the idea there. It runs up over here, nice and clean. Nothing's pinched. That's the biggest thing, is making sure nothing gets pinched there. So yeah, that's the one straight from the ice box. And then this is the one going back, running back to the tank. You can see everything's tucked up nice out of the way there. That's the biggest thing, making sure nothing rubs. The last thing you want is a bunch of water getting pumped out underneath your tires while you're going down the track at 140 miles an hour. So definitely took my time, made sure that that install was super clean. Next step is wire this thing up and throw some water in it. All right, guys, so what I did was I just cut this piece of the piece that normally fits in here. I just cut it with a skill saw so it fits flush right up against the tank, flush against the back. So this side will still be open so I can get to the drain valve. But that so hides all the airlift stuff. Really happy with how that came out, actually. All the wiring is done. It needs to get tidied up a lot. All right, that should be good enough. So all my switches are hooked up here. I will post a picture of the wiring diagram, how I wired this. Didn't really come with anything, but I guess here we go. There we go. It's going to spit out some antifreeze because there's still some antifreeze in the so I'm going to have to do something to drain that. There we go. Now we got the water in there. Figured I'd show you. I had to cut the fender liner here, just kind of clearance it, and then also here, I don't know how good you can see that, but also cut that just to make a little bit more room there so that wasn't hitting. So that came out pretty good. Everything tucks in here really nice. So yeah, we're pretty happy with how that turned out. I was going to show you guys the wiring diagram because this didn't come with a wiring diagram, so I actually just made it. So yeah, the way it is it comes with a relay which is right here. It has a fuse in it, this relay does, 15 amp fuse. And that has 4 wires coming out of it. Black wire obviously is your ground. This is how I ran it. You could run this a couple different ways to put a switch in it, but this is how I ran it. There's a blue wire, or I'm sorry, a white wire that comes out of the relay. That just went to a switchable 12 volt source in the fuse box, a jumper basically. So I tapped that wire right there that was an add fuse for my air ride. So that goes to the fuse box. Positive, the red wire just goes to the battery, obviously ground off the battery. And then coming off the pump, you have a black wire. That's just your ground. And then a brown wire. The brown wire runs up to the switch, the accessory in the switch. And then a blue wire to the relay, and then a ground wire off the switch as well. So this way, if I have the switch turned on, when I turn the car on, it'll automatically start the pump, just like if it was the Roush pump. Or at the track, I can turn the switch off and start the car and have no pump, and then after I do my burnout, I can flip the switch and start the pump. So I guess for the Weekend Warrior guys, this is how I would wire it. There is a fuse inside the relay, a 15 amp fuse built in. So this seems to work well. If anyone has any questions on this, let me know. I can send you this diagram on how I wired it. Sorry, it's a little bit crude, but this makes sense to me. Hopefully it'll make sense to anyone else that's buying one of these kits. But yeah, it looks really clean. The install went, I don't know, it took me 8 hours to do it right and clean. All the wires are tucked now. Everything has, looms on it. Put in here nice and clean. I put the lid on the tank. Like I said, I'm going to get that out of there. I'm going to go try it with some ice in it just to see how well it does. Switch is in there now. Works awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked on how the whole thing turned out. So, but now the test is going and driving it and see how it does. So, I'm gonna get everything put back together, clean up in the garage. It's kind of my pet peeve. Vacuum up in the back, and then I'm gonna go take it for a ride though. Flick on the pump now. We're at 87, we're at 90, so here comes the pump. Pump is on. Immediately dropped. Remember, this is just water right now, no ice or anything. Is I'm gonna go buy a bag of ice or two and just give it an actual test, how we'll do it at the track and see how it does. So even for street driving, it should be better. pack it with ice, let it get a little bit hot if it has to, sitting in the lanes. After the burnout, flip the switch and go. It's the same way we would do it at the track. Pop that open. Big old bag of ice. Drain some, mostly water. Would be staging lanes. You see 129. Flicking the pump on now. This drops. That ice melts quick, especially with the heat exchanger up front. I mean, that's putting hot air into it. So really, I'll probably end up just pulling those hoses off. I'll make a quick extension I can throw on them and run those straight into the blower for when we're at the track next. But either way, having all that extra volume, a pump that does better than the Roush pump, and the ability to be able to flick it on and off like that is definitely going to help at the track, no doubt. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't, like this video if you do, and share with your friends. Thanks for watching. Peace!